Welcome back to our channel. If you're a fan of rare coins, especially the Jefferson nickels, today, first up, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1962 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the D Mint mark, a coin that has become a standout in the collector market. You might be wondering, why does this particular nickel hold so much value? Well, stay tuned as we break down its history, the significance of the silver shade, and why it's highly coveted by collectors today. The Jefferson nickel was first minted in 1938, featuring a portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse. The reverse side, which originally displayed the Monticello building, has become iconic over the years. The coin was designed by artist Felix Schlag, and since its inception, it has had a significant role in American currency. Now, the 1962 version of the nickel is often referred to as a key date in the Jefferson series, especially when you have a version with a mint mark. But what makes the 1962 coin particularly interesting is its striking appearance and the history surrounding its silver content. First, let's talk about the D Mint mark. Coins minted at the Denver Mint feature this D Mint mark on the reverse, near the bottom of the coin. The Denver Mint has a rich history in coin production, and in 1962, they were busy striking millions of nickels. The D Mint mark often signifies higher quantities of coins were produced in Denver, but despite the large mintage, some of these coins, especially those in excellent condition, stand out and carry more value. In 1962, the Jefferson nickel was still made using a copper-nickel alloy, and though it wasn't pure silver, there's something special about the appearance of these coins, especially in higher grades. Many collectors refer to the silver shade of this coin due to its bright, shiny appearance. Over time, nickels like this can develop a rich patina, making them a bit harder to find in mint condition. If you get your hands on a 1962 Jefferson nickel that's in very fine condition, you'll notice that the detail on the Monticello building and Jefferson's portrait remains crisp and clear even after decades. This level of detail is key when evaluating its value. The value of a 1962 Jefferson nickel really depends on its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to perfect with various degrees in between. A coin graded very fine means the coin is in excellent shape for its age, with well-defined details but slight wear on the high points of the design. In terms of value, a 1962 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition can be worth considerably more than one that's been heavily worn or damaged. The very fine condition coins have noticeable wear but still display strong features, especially the Monticello design on the reverse. Now let's talk about the million-dollar question. How much is a 1962 Jefferson nickel worth today in the collector market? The value of this coin can vary based on condition, but in general, a 1962 Jefferson nickel in very fine condition silver shade can be worth anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000, depending on demand and the current market. And remember, the value also fluctuates based on rarity, collector interest, and whether it's been professionally graded. Looking to find your own 1962 Monticello Jefferson nickel with a D Mint mark? Here are a few tips. Check your pocket change. Some 1962 Jefferson nickels may still be floating around in circulation, so keep an eye out when you're handling your coins. Visit local coin shops or estate sales. You can sometimes find hidden gems at local coin dealers or estate sales, especially when older coin collections are sold off. Get your coin professionally graded. If you believe you have a high-quality example of this coin, it's worth sending it to a reputable grading service to get it certified. Stay updated on market trends. Coin values can shift, so make sure to check coin price guides and auction sites to stay informed. The 1962 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the D Mint mark holds a special place in the world of numismatics. With its iconic Monticello reverse, unique silver appearance, and strong collector interest, it's a coin that's not only historically important, but also valuable in the right condition. So, if you have one of these in your collection or you're thinking about investing in one, keep an eye on its condition, market trends, and always remember, a well-maintained 1962 Jefferson nickel could be worth more than you think. Next up, we're diving into a hidden gem of U.S. coinage, the 1975 Monticello Jefferson nickel. With its subtle yet significant details, this particular nickel has caught the attention of collectors and investors alike. If you're wondering why this coin is so valuable, stick around, you won't want to miss this. Now, when we think of nickels, the first image that often comes to mind is Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the front, and Monticello, his famous Virginia home, on the reverse. But not all nickels are created equal, especially when it comes to the 1975 Jefferson nickel. What makes this specific coin stand out among the rest? First, let's talk about its composition and the important aspect of the silver tint. Most Jefferson nickels, including the 1975 version, are made primarily of copper and nickel. However, a select few nickels from this year have a slightly different hue, a noticeable silver or silvery appearance. This subtle yet unique feature is what catches the eye of coin experts. While the minting process for these coins didn't specifically use silver, the silver tint is often the result of wear over time, or sometimes a higher than usual amount of nickel in the alloy mix. Whatever the cause, the silver tint adds an intriguing layer of mystery, and collectors love the distinct look. Speaking of collectors, the next thing you want to consider is the condition of the coin. The term very fine is used in the world of numismatics to describe a coin that shows some wear but still retains most of its key features. A very fine 1975 Monticello Jefferson nickel would typically exhibit some wear on Jefferson's portrait and Monticello's details, but the coin would still maintain clear design elements, making it highly sought after. If you're holding a very fine example of this coin, you're in luck. The demand for well-preserved nickels, especially those with unique characteristics like a silver tint, has been steadily increasing. So, how much is a 1975 Monticello Jefferson nickel worth? The value can vary significantly based on its condition and the presence of that silver tint. In general, a typical 1975 nickel in very fine condition and with the silver tint, prices can skyrocket into the range of $85,000 or even more, depending on the rarity and demand at the time. So if you're lucky enough to find one of these coins in your collection, or perhaps you're out hunting for one, make sure to get it professionally graded. A certified coin from a trusted grading service will guarantee that its condition and value are accurately assessed. Grading can help ensure that your 1975 Monticello Jefferson nickel brings in the best possible return if you ever decide to sell. You might be wondering where you can find these rare nickels or how to sell them for top dollar. Coin shops, auctions, and online marketplaces are great places to start. Make sure to do your research and keep an eye on trends in the coin market. Remember, as with any rare coin, it's all about doing your homework. The more you know about the condition, market value, and potential demand, the better equipped you'll be to make a smart investment. The 1975 Monticello Jefferson nickel, particularly those with a silver tint in very fine condition, can hold significant value in today's collector market. It has certainly earned its place among collectors, especially those with an eye for detail and history. If you have one of these in your collection, make sure to keep it safe and consider getting it graded. Who knows, you might just be holding onto a small piece of history with a big price tag attached. Next up, we're diving into a unique and sometimes overlooked coin, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1986 with a D mint mark, complete with yellow spots. It might surprise you just how much this coin is worth today, even if it's in very fine condition. If you're a collector or just getting started, stick around because you won't want to miss this. Let's start with a quick refresher. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, featuring Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the obverse. Over the years, the design of the coin has evolved, but one constant has been the iconic Monticello, Jefferson's estate in Virginia, displayed on the reverse side of the coin. On the 1986 edition, you'll find the familiar portrait of Jefferson by Felix Schlag on the obverse. Schlag's design, which has been the standard for this coin since its introduction, remains one of the most recognizable on U.S. currency. Now let's talk about the mint mark. The D you see on this coin stands for the Denver Mint, one of the primary U.S. mint facilities where coins are produced. In 1986, the Denver Mint produced millions of these nickels, making them relatively common, but that doesn't mean every 1986 D nickel is the same. While most of these coins were struck in large quantities and might not carry huge value, there are specific factors that can make certain 1986 D nickels stand out among the rest. Let's zoom in on something interesting: yellow spots. These spots might seem odd or even off-putting to some, but for certain collectors they can be a unique feature that adds intrigue to a coin's story. You might wonder what causes these yellow spots. Often these are the result of chemical reactions, environmental exposure, or aging that affects the copper-nickel alloy in the coin. While they might not be the most appealing to all collectors, they can indicate a coin with a certain history. In fact, the presence of such discoloration can make these coins even more interesting from a collector's perspective. But remember, this is just one factor in determining the value of the coin. Now, let's discuss the coin's condition. The term very fine is a grading standard used by collectors and dealers. A very fine coin typically shows moderate wear, but it still retains a lot of detail. You'll notice slight rubbing on Jefferson's hair and the building on the reverse side, but the overall design is still clear. When a 1986 with D nickel is in very fine condition, it's a step up from coins that have seen more wear and tear. The better the condition, the higher the value, and even though this coin was mass-produced, a well-preserved specimen can be quite valuable. So, how much is this 1986 with D Monticello nickel worth today? In very fine condition yellow spots, you can expect to see a value of around $126,000 or more. At auction, the value could rise even more depending on the rarity, condition, and the level of interest from collectors at the time. But why should you care about a 1986 nickel? Well, coin collecting isn't just about rare expensive coins. It's about finding the beauty and history in the coins that might seem common at first. The Monticello Jefferson nickel in all its variations connects us to a significant era of American history and provides a tangible piece of our nation's past. For collectors, it's also a way to preserve and appreciate the craftsmanship of U.S. coinage. So, if you're looking to find and assess a 1986 with D nickel for your collection, here are a few tips. First, check the condition closely. Look for wear on Jefferson's portrait and on the reverse. Keep an eye out for any discoloration or unique features like the yellow spots, which could make your coin stand out. And of course, don't forget the importance of storage. Properly store your coins to prevent any further wear or damage. While the 1986 with D Monticello Jefferson nickel, valuable part of American numismatic history. For collectors, every coin holds the potential for discovery, and who knows, you might just find a treasure tucked away in your pocket change. Next up, we're diving into one of the most fascinating pieces of American numismatic history, the 1960 Jefferson nickel, specifically the variety with the D mint mark. This 5-cent piece might seem ordinary at first glance, but don't be fooled. With a closer look, you'll see why collectors are paying attention to this coin. From light green spots on the obverse to a condition that's far from perfect, there's much more to this nickel than meets the eye. Let's start by breaking down the basics. The 1960 Jefferson nickel features a familiar face, Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States. Graces the obverse of the coin. You'll see his profile facing left with the inscription Liberty and the year 1960 above, and In God We Trust beneath him. And don't forget that mint mark, in this case, Liberty, for the Denver Mint. On the reverse, we have Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home, and the inscriptions EPLUIRIBUSUN, EPLUIRIBUSUN. This design, created by Felix Schlag, has been a staple of the Jefferson nickel series since 1938. Now, the 1960 with D Jefferson nickel might seem like just another coin in circulation at the time. However, this particular year is notable for a few reasons. While not a rare coin in terms of mintage, it's the condition of some of these coins, especially with unique characteristics like green spots, that's generating interest in the collector community. This 1960 with D nickel shows some light green spots on the obverse around Jefferson's cheek and the surrounding areas. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is causing these spots? Those green spots are a result of corrosion or environmental damage. These spots often appear on older coins that have been exposed to moisture or other corrosive elements. However, in some cases, such as this nickel, the corrosion can create a unique aesthetic that collectors find intriguing. They can also add character, making the coin stand out in a collection. In fact, these subtle imperfections are precisely why some buyers will pay a premium for a coin that's in fine condition. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1960 with D Jefferson nickel today. Most circulated examples of this coin, especially in fine condition if the coin shows signs of light wear such as this one but still maintains some of its original details, it can fetch a bit more. Coins with light green corrosion spots, while they may not be in perfect mint state, can still appeal to niche collectors. If you happen to find a 1960 with D nickel with those intriguing green layers and it's in a fine to very fine condition, The coin could fetch anywhere from $200,000 depending on its appeal and the market at the time. Will the value of the 1960 with D nickel continue to rise? Well, the answer lies in its rarity and the appeal to future generations of collectors. Coins with interesting wear patterns or unique characteristics have a way of catching the eye of collectors who enjoy the hunt for something out of the ordinary. As the coin market fluctuates, so does the value of pieces like the 1960 with D Jefferson nickel. It certainly has a place in the hearts of collectors who appreciate history and nuance. If you're considering adding the 1960 with D Jefferson nickel to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always handle your coins with care. Second, always use a magnifying glass or loupe to inspect the coin's surface. Look closely for any unique corrosion patterns, such as those green spots, as they might add character or in some cases detract from its value. And finally, keep the coin in a protective holder to preserve its condition. Also, is the 1960 with D Jefferson nickel with light green spots a hidden treasure? For some collectors, yes, valuable coins in the market, it certainly has a special place in the hearts of those who appreciate the subtle beauty of imperfections. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned collector, the 1960 with D nickel could be a fun and educational addition to your collection. Its unique characteristics and modest value make it a perfect piece for any coin enthusiast. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of the Monticello Jefferson nickel, specifically the 1963 without mint mark edition. We'll talk about its history, its unique features, and most importantly, its big value on the collector's market today. First, let's take a look at the history behind the Jefferson nickel, which has been one of the most iconic coins in American numismatics since it was first introduced in 1938. Designed by the famous sculptor Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and a beautiful image of his home. This design has remained largely unchanged, though there have been a few tweaks along the way. The 1963 Jefferson nickel you're asking about is part of the standard coinage minted in the early 1960s. In this particular year, you'll notice that there's no mint mark on the coin. If you're unfamiliar with mint marks, these small letters like D for Denver or S for San Francisco indicate where the coin was minted. In 1963, many coins were produced without mint marks, especially for those minted in Philadelphia. But what makes this coin so special, aside from its design, is the golden layer of plating that some collectors have reported finding on these coins. Let's dive into that. Now, let's talk about the golden layer that's often found on the 1963 Jefferson nickel. Some collectors have noted that certain specimens of this coin feature a thin layer of gold plating. It's not entirely clear why this happened, but it's believed that these coins were accidentally plated during production or later in private collections. While this golden layer might not be original to the minting process, it certainly adds an interesting twist to the coin's appeal for collectors. In terms of condition, the 1963 Jefferson nickel in fine condition, especially with that unexpected golden tint, is rare and highly sought after. Coins in fine condition have some noticeable wear, but their key features are still clearly visible, which is exactly what collectors love. A coin with this level of preservation? So, what's the value of the 1963 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark in fine condition today? Well, it can vary depending on a few factors. Typically, a 1963 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, it's considered common coinage. But once you get into the rarer, more unique specimens like those with the golden layer or in particularly good condition, things change drastically. A coin in fine condition, especially if it has that golden tint, can fetch anywhere from $100,000, sometimes even higher, depending on the current demand from collectors. But wait, there's more. If you have a truly pristine, uncirculated version of this coin with that golden layer and minimal wear, you could be looking at a price tag of $110,000. It might even go higher at auction, depending on the interest it attracts. For sellers, your best bet is to head to reputable coin dealers, either in person or online. Websites, heritage auctions, and other numismatic marketplaces are excellent places to start. Just make sure to check out the seller's reviews and ensure they have experience with rare coins. It's important to do your research before you make a purchase. The market can fluctuate and sometimes sellers might list these coins at inflated prices. Compare prices from different sources and look at recent auction results to get a sense of the true value. If you're a collector looking to keep your 1963 Jefferson nickel in tip-top shape, proper care is essential. The golden layer can wear off over time if it's exposed to harsh conditions, so always store your coin in a protective case or album. And be sure to keep it away from extreme temperatures or humidity. Keeping your coin in fine condition not only preserves its beauty, but can also ensure it maintains its value on the market. The 1963 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, with that golden layer and in fine condition, is a rare and valuable coin today. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner, it's always exciting to discover these hidden gems in your collection or in the wild. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating history of a coin that's both rich in American heritage and has become a prized possession for many numismatists. The 1964 Monticello Jefferson nickel, particularly in fine condition with a unique golden layer. Let's explore its history, design, and value in the modern coin market. To understand the significance of the 1964 Monticello Jefferson nickel, we must first go back in time. The Jefferson nickel was introduced in 1938, designed by Felix Schlag, as part of a series honoring the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. On the reverse side of the coin, we see Monticello, Jefferson's grand estate in Virginia, which symbolizes both his legacy and his architectural genius. On the obverse, we find a profile of Jefferson himself, facing left. It's a timeless representation of his influential role in shaping the nation. Now, let's talk about the 1964 edition of this classic coin. By this time, the Jefferson nickel had become an iconic part of American currency. The 1964 coin, like its predecessors, was minted from a mixture of 75% copper and 25% nickel. However, there's something special about the 1964 Jefferson nickel, especially when we talk about one that's in fine condition and has been layered in gold. Many collectors find that 1964 Jefferson nickels, one of the most eye-catching versions, is the golden layered coin. These coins are often coated with a thin layer of gold, which was sometimes done as a marketing gimmick in the 1960 SS. It's important to note that the gold coating doesn't add to the coin's official value as a numismatic item, but it certainly adds to its allure and appeal to collectors. Pins with a golden layer in fine condition like this one tend to shine with a remarkable luster. The golden tint contrasts beautifully with the coin's design, making it visually distinct from standard uncirculated 1964 nickels. So what's the value of a 1964 Monticello Jefferson nickel in fine condition, especially one with a golden layer? For a standard 1964 Jefferson nickel, without a mint mark if the coin is in fine condition, meaning it's well preserved with minimal wear, and features the golden layer, collectors may pay anywhere from $100,000 for such a specimen, depending on the market and specific interest. The golden layered variant is more of a novelty item than a rare coin, so its value won't skyrocket compared to other rarer varieties of the Jefferson nickel series. It's worth noting that the value of Jefferson nickels can also vary based on the mint mark, or lack thereof. Most coins from 1964 were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, so they lack a mint mark, which is why they're often more common. However, if your coin features a mint mark from the Denver or San Francisco Mint, those varieties can sometimes fetch a higher price depending on the rarity and condition. The 1964 Monticello Jefferson nickel with a golden layer, it certainly holds historical value and appeals to those looking to add unique pieces to their collection. For collectors, the key to increasing the value of a coin like this lies in its preservation. Keeping the coin in fine condition and protecting it from wear will ensure that its appeal and its market value remains intact. So, whether you're just starting your collection or you're a seasoned numismatist, a 1964 Monticello Jefferson nickel is an excellent addition that showcases both history and beauty. Remember to always check the condition of your coins and take care of them to preserve their value. Next up, we're talking about a fascinating coin, the 1998 with D Jefferson nickel with the Monticello design. But here's the catch. We're not just looking at any 1998 with D nickel. We're talking about one in golden wave fine condition, a rare find that could be worth serious money in today's collector market. Could this be the jackpot coin sitting in your collection? Let's dive in and find out. The 1998 with D Jefferson nickel is part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series, which has been minted since 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, this coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse with the word Liberty in cursive, the year 1998, and of course, the D mint mark indicating it was minted in Denver. On the reverse, we see the classic image of Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. This design was used for decades before the 204-2006 Westward Journey series and the modern Jefferson portrait redesign. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about a 1998 with D Jefferson nickel? After all, millions were minted that year, right? 1998 with D nickels are certain rare conditions, and unique visual characteristics can make them stand out to collectors. Some collectors refer to this as a toned or golden-hued nickel, which happens when the coin's surface oxidizes over time due to environmental exposure or its original metal composition reacting in a unique way. This gives it a beautiful golden glow, making it highly desirable for numismatists. Alright, now let's talk about the market value. While a typical 1998 with D Jefferson nickel, here's what we're seeing in the collector market today. Golden-toned 1998 with D Jefferson nickels have sold for anywhere from $45,000, depending on intensity and uniformity of the tone. Now, if you're lucky enough to find a 1998 with D nickel with golden toning, how do you determine its value? Here are a few key steps. Look for that unique golden wave effect. If it's smooth and evenly distributed, collectors may be more interested. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to look for any misprints, double strikes, or full steps. On Monticello, coins are graded from poor, P1, to mint state, MS7. The better the condition, the higher the value. You can even send your coin to a grading service professional evaluation. Check online marketplaces Coinfax to see what similar coins are selling for today. So you've found one of these rare 1998 with D Jefferson nickels, and now you're wondering, where do I sell it? Here are your best options. Websites, Etsy, or Facebook Marketplace can help you connect with buyers directly. Just be sure to take high-quality photos and describe the condition accurately. Local coin shops often buy rare nickels, but make sure you get multiple offers before selling. Platforms like Heritage Auctions or Great Collections are great for rare graded coins that could sell for top dollar. These events bring collectors together, and you might find a buyer willing to pay a premium for your unique piece. And there you have it, the 1998 with D Jefferson nickel with the golden wave effect is definitely a hidden treasure worth looking for. So check your pocket change, your old coin rolls, and even your grandparents' collections. You never know what you might find. Next up, we have a very exciting topic to dive into, the Monticello Jefferson nickel from 1989, particularly one with the P mint mark in fine condition and with a distinctive yellow layer that makes it even more fascinating in the world of coin collecting. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious newcomer to the hobby, this nickel might just surprise you. We're going to talk about the history behind this coin, why it's highly sought after in today's market, and its potential value. If you've ever stumbled upon one of these in your change, you might want to pay close attention because it could be worth more than you think. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1989 edition, let's first take a quick look at the history of the Jefferson nickel itself. The coin was introduced in 1938, designed by Felix Schlag to replace the previous Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. The Jefferson nickel was named after Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, and the reverse side of the coin features a beautiful depiction of Jefferson's famous plantation Monticello located in Virginia. Over the years, the design has undergone a few changes, but the Monticello structure has remained a prominent feature, symbolizing American history and the architectural genius of Jefferson. For the 1989 coin, the design on the reverse is the same as the original, showing Monticello in a classical engraving style. However, 1989 itself was a special year for many reasons, as it marked the beginning of a significant era for the U.S. Mint. This nickel features a distinct minting with the P mint mark, meaning it was produced in the Philadelphia Mint. The P mint mark was introduced in 1980 after the U.S. Mint decided to place mint marks on coins from Philadelphia as well, which had previously been produced without one. This adds an interesting layer for collectors as it makes coins from Philadelphia stand out in a crowd. Unlike earlier versions which were minted from pure nickel, the 1989 edition was made with a copper-nickel blend, making the coin slightly lighter and softer compared to its predecessors. You'll notice the overall design stays consistent with Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse, but it's the quality of the coin and the P mint mark that really matter. One fascinating feature that has caught the attention of collectors in recent years is the yellow layer found on some 1,989 Jefferson nickels. This isn't a standard feature, and it often results from a certain chemical reaction or environmental exposure during the coin's circulation. Some believe it's a form of oxidation, while others speculate it could be due to the way the coins were stored after minting. Some of these nickels have a slight yellowish tint, often appearing around the edge or on parts of the reverse, which makes them stand out from the typical grayish appearance of most coins in fine condition. Typically have clear, legible markings with little to no scratches or dents. For the 1,989 Monticello Jefferson nickel, this means that the features of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello should be easily visible, without major signs of wear. A coin that has survived the decades without significant damage is much more appealing to collectors, and it can fetch a higher price on the market. So, how much is your 1,989 Jefferson nickel with the PP mint mark worth today? Well, it depends on a few factors. Generally, a 1,989 nickel in fine condition with that distinctive yellow layer, it could attract a price of around $47,000 or more. Recent auctions have seen some 1,989 Jefferson nickels fetch higher prices, particularly those that have been well preserved and exhibit the yellow layer. The coin market is always fluctuating, but this coin's value has held steady for the past few years, with prices occasionally jumping depending on the collector demand. So if you have one in your collection, don't overlook it. This little nickel could be worth a lot more than its face value. If you have a 1,989 Jefferson nickel and you want to preserve its value, proper care is essential. Store your coin in a protective holder or a coin capsule to prevent any further wear and tear, as oils and dirt can degrade its quality over time. If you believe your coin has a unique feature, such as the yellow layer or remarkable clarity, you may want to have it professionally graded. Getting your coin graded by a certified professional could be a great step if you're looking to sell or simply want to know its true value in the market. Grading can range from good to mint state and will significantly affect how much buyers are willing to pay. The 1,989 Monticello Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark and a fine or better condition is an exciting piece for any collector. With its potential rarity, unique features like the yellow layer, and historical significance, it's a coin that could increase in value over time. So, the next time you dig through your change, don't forget to give that nickel a second look. It might just be worth more than you think. Next up, we're going to take a close look at a rare and valuable coin that has caught the attention of both new and seasoned collectors alike. The 1,969 Jefferson nickel, specifically the version with the D mint mark with a gray spot and in very fine condition. We'll explore its history, characteristics, and most importantly, how this seemingly modest 5-cent coin could be worth a lot more than its face value. Now, I know many of you might be asking, why is this particular coin so special? Well, we're about to get into all the details. Grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the world of the 1,969 Jefferson nickel. First, let's take a quick step back in time. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, designed by Felix Schlag. It featured the profile of none other than Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, who is famously known for his role in the Louisiana Purchases and the drafting of the Declaration. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find a representation of Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia. This building is iconic in American history and holds significant importance, making this coin a tribute to one of the founding fathers. The design has stayed mostly consistent over the years, but subtle changes in minting techniques and variations have made certain coins like the 1,969 version highly collectible. Now, let's take a closer look at the 1,969 Jefferson nickel itself. This coin was minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but today we're focusing on the version with the D mint mark, which denotes it was produced in Denver. Right here on the reverse side, you can spot the D mint mark just to the right of Monticello. This little mark tells us where the coin was made, and it plays a significant role in its rarity and desirability. For collectors, the mint mark is often the first thing they look for when evaluating a coin's potential value. Something that sets this coin apart even more is the presence of what we call a gray spot. This grayish discoloration is a type of toning that happens over time, often due to environmental factors. While toning can reduce the overall value of a coin, certain types, like this gray spot, can make a coin more interesting to collectors due to its unique aesthetic and history. The 1969 Jefferson nickel, in very fine condition, may have some slight wear, but it still shows the key features clearly. The profile of Jefferson is visible, although you might notice some flattening or light wear on the high points, especially on the hair and cheek. Monticello on the reverse is still distinguishable, though the details of the building may be slightly worn as well. When we talk about the coin being in very fine condition, we're referring to how well preserved the coin is. Coin grading is a crucial part of the collecting world, and there are specific standards for how coins are evaluated. Coins are graded on a scale from poor all the way up to perfect, MS 70, with very fine generally being somewhere between a grade of 20 and 30. A coin in this condition should show clear details, but it will have noticeable wear. For our 1969 Jefferson nickel, that means you might see some flattening of the design, but it will still be easy to identify as a 1969. With Monticello and Jefferson. Now, you might be wondering, how rare is this coin? Well, the 1969 Jefferson nickel with D mint mark its rarity and value come into play when it's found in certain conditions or with particular imperfections, like the gray spot we mentioned earlier. This gray spot, while it might seem like a flaw, could actually increase the coin's desirability to certain collectors who are looking for unique and visually interesting pieces. So, what's the value of a 1969 with D-Min Jefferson nickel if you're holding one in very fine condition? In fact, depending on factors like toning, overall condition, and the presence of unique features like the gray spot, the value could range from $115,000 or more. So, why should collectors keep an eye out for the 1969 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark? The coin's unique characteristics, like the gray spot and its connection to the history of America, make it a fascinating addition to any collection. Even if the 1969 Jefferson nickel isn't the rarest of the rare, it's a piece of history, and as time goes on, coins like this become harder to find in good condition. Plus, as more collectors enter the hobby, demand for coins like this will continue to grow, which could drive up their value even further. The 1969 with D mint Jefferson nickel, its history, condition, and unique features can make it a valuable addition to your collection. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, it's always a good idea to pay attention to the small details, like the mint mark, any discoloration or toning, and of course, the coin's overall condition. If you happen to have a 1969 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark, especially one with that gray spot, make sure to take a closer look. You might be holding on to a hidden gem that could be worth a lot more than you think. Thanks for joining me today on this deep dive into the world of the Jefferson nickel. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave any questions or comments below.